What is a scary, unsettling fact about you? I killed someone in self-defense, went through the entire court process with his family sobbing hysterically and never felt a single emotion about it, and I'm a pretty emotional guy. People process things differently. Given that this was self-defense, I don't think it's fair to judge you for feeling nothing. Could be your mind's defense mechanism to protect you from a traumatic situation. Not sure if it's scary? But my dad OD'd on heroin and died. I probably could have saved him. I went downstairs at like 1 a.m. to get a drink and saw the bathroom door closed with the light on. I thought about pounding on the door to scare him, which is something I would do to mess with him. I walked up to the door, went to knock on it but thought to myself, "Nah, don't mess with him." And I walked away. Woke up later finding out he was dead from an OD. It's not your fault. You didn't know he was overdosing in there. Sometimes I think I have memories of being sexually molested or exploited as a young child. But I can't ever be sure if the memories are real, and I wouldn't dare ask anyone. Edit. I am shocked and horrified at how many others have similar experiences/suspicions. But the amount of people that feel comfort in knowing they aren't alone has made sharing this post worth it. Wishing you all clarity, peace, and healing. I have the same. I know it happened in some instances, but others are more hazy. Found out that it is almost certain to have happened in one situation because my cousin confided it happened to her with the same neighbor. So what I thought was maybe just a dream or something became obviously clear. And later that same neighbor was arrested for CP. I have no idea if any of it was me. I have unusually good night vision, extra cones/rods, I forget which is for low light, which means I walk around in what other people consider complete darkness, able to see just fine. Add on to that I'm 6 feet 10 inches and very large, basically a cryptid. You could single-handedly stoke interest in Bigfoot again, if you're committed to night walks. I used to dream of making some kind of suit and trying to get a cryptid legend going in my area, but I'm fairly certain I'd just get shot by some Jethro who wants to sell the carcass to the Discovery Channel. Growing up, I had a recurring nightmare set in my grandparents' backyard looking at the back of their house. There was just something off about the house. Something mildly sinister. I dreamt this over and over, many times over the years. In 2018, my dad, who now owned the house, went into the backyard to that spot and killed himself. I haven't had the backyard dream since. I had a recurring super vivid intense dream at like 4. My uncle was chasing us around a labyrinth with a large knife, trying to kill me and my grandmother. 25 or so years later, the same uncle, complete paranoid delusional schizophrenic, murders my grandmother at her condo, with the very nice chef knife I bought her for Christmas the year before. I can ignore being tickled. Same. Annoys my wife and children to no end. Because I'm an excellent counter-tickler. LOL, my wife told me she wasn't ticklish, and I ended up finding a spot she didn't know about, and she peed herself. Our puppy was so confused I just disciplined for peeing on the carpet, and she did it right after, and just tilted her head like. From ages 6 to 14, I spent all of my time in a pitch-black, cold and locked basement, only leaving for school and never letting anyone, outside the family, know. I need background information on this, why and why? Where to start? When I was 6, my sister, 16, and I discovered that my dad, violent, abusive, was fucking my mom's sister. My dad proceeded to punch out my mom, when she found out, knocking out some of her teeth. I made the mistake of reporting the event to my teachers the next day. Police go to my dad's work. Dad comes home, pissed off at me for shaming the family. Proceeds to strangle me into unconsciousness. Wake up in the basement, told I can come out when I learn to respect my dad. My only company was a Bible, and some school books. I read the Bible every day and prayed for the abuse to stop. Not once did God answer. I constantly think about leaving my current life behind and just living alone somewhere remote where no one knows I exist. Odd thing is, I have a really good happy life and I never do it. But I think about it constantly. Me too. Like running away and completely changing everything. And never talking to anyone I currently know ever again. I did something similar. 25 years ago. It was wild. For some reason, life worked out. Met someone. We went rural together and loved. Been back in the city for 2 years. Been difficult. We're going back in 3 years. For good. I'm no longer a people person. I miss nature. I have an enlarged aortic root. It's very unlikely, but it could spontaneously rupture, leading to the medical term adjusts glasses. Instantaneous death. I would pass out, bleed to death, and then fall over. Dead before hitting the ground. And it could happen at any time. My wife is very uncomfortable thinking about it, lol. I'm a physician. If you're not being followed by a vascular surgeon, you should be. They're supposed to ultrasound it at regular intervals and do a prophylactic surgery. Sometimes can be done just through a catheter, with a graft if it does get too large. If it spontaneously ruptures, you do still have a chance of survival if you live near a hospital with cardiothoracic surgery. I've seen it done in person. I do not actually remember a decent chunk of my life. Whenever I talk about most of my childhood, I use words that leave room for mistakes and am generally using memories and ideas I've compiled from hearing other people say things about me. There is actually a large chunks of facts about myself that I only think I know, and don't have personal confirmation of. Yeah, I have the same problem. I think my brain is just trying to save me from the trauma. I remember a lot of the trauma, but by now it is slivers of a memory. It's all just fractions of my childhood. I have people constantly ask me if I remember this or that, and I am a deer in the headlights. I sometimes forget what happened a few days ago. Since I was very young, age 9 or 10 I think, I've had thoughts that I was going to die young. The older I got, the age 24 just kept reoccurring. I'll be 24 in a few months. I have appointments for neurologists for a suspected brain tumor coming up. Nothing is certain or set, but this all feels very weird. If it's any comfort, I had the exact same feeling and a specific age kept reoccurring for me too. I passed that age a few years ago. I'm heavily addicted to opioids and have been for nearly a decade. Absolutely nobody in my life knows. When I go without them and have withdrawals, I think about ending it all. I don't even do them for the high. I have legitimate pain and they help massively. The high isn't even much, just makes me feel happier with not being in pain. I was in this exact situation for this exact reason, for the same exact number of years. Even my husband didn't know. Now I've been clean for 7 years on subs. You can get help and come out whole. Slept in my mom's bed until I was 12 years old. Everyone believed I was just a mama's boy, including myself. It was actually because I shared a bedroom with my brother who molested me. I start therapy soon. Bubby. As a mother who has her 10-year-old occasionally jump into bed and I feel guilt for babying him, but I've always been his safety. My oldest is 18 and I've established and ingrained it that I'll always be there to listen. I'm so sorry nobody could tell. I hope your therapy can help find you peace. It's terrible to be betrayed by those you trust. I have a tendency to self-isolate, and it's damaged very long-term friendships because people don't understand that it's not them, it's me, and that I really mean no harm, or have any ill feelings towards them. I just kinda want to recede into my own mind. I feel really bad about it, and keep telling myself to reach out, but I don't. I could have written this. I watched people I thought would always be there drift away because I let those relationships die. Sometimes people get hurt and I have to explain that I have no ability to maintain relationships, and that it's not their fault. I'm 25 and it seems to only get worse.